So a man walks into a bar
Yep.
and he sees 3 pieces of meat hanging from the ceiling. And so he says to the bartender, "Hey, bartender, why are those 3 pieces of meat hanging from the ceiling?" And he says, "Because if you can jump up and touch all 3 of them, you will have free drinks for the evening.
Oh, wow.
But if you miss, you have to buy drinks for everybody in the bar."
Oh.
So he says, "Do you want to go ahead and try?" And the man says, "No, the stakes are just too high."
That's a terrible joke, but the stakes are too high. Hey, welcome to another episode of Tabletop Coffee.
Yeah.
I'm Keith Dunn, and I'm a network engineer.
And I'm Chuck Rogers, and I'm a licensed professional counselor and a licensed marriage and family therapist. And together, we are Tabletop Coffee.
Yeah, and you know what? Don't talk about your feelings.
Now,
No, part 2.
stay tuned, everybody. We'll show you how to not do it. We're going to talk about something really good. What I thought about was we could do a follow-up video on what we talked about a couple weeks ago. Don't talk about your feelings.
Yeah, definitely don't talk about your feelings.
So I thought we could do Don't Talk About Your Feelings
2. Okay.
Number 2.
I think that's really good. I think that was a really great video.
I liked it a
I'll
lot.
put the link right here for you so you can go back and watch the first one.
So what I was thinking about tonight is that, we're always told, share your feelings, share your feelings, share your feelings.
Right.
And we talked in the first week about some of the cons of actually sharing your feelings, and that there are sometimes when it's really better to not talk about what you think and better to not talk about how you feel with certain groups of people.
Right.
The other thing that I was thinking about as well is that sometimes we've tried to share our thoughts and tried to share our feelings, and it just comes to no avail.
Okay.
So maybe you stop talking about what you think and you stop talking about how you feel, and you try to engage with the other person, but yet use a different way
Okay.
to do it.
Do you have an example of that? You're great with examples.
Yeah. So what if you stop talking about it and you reach out and try to connect with the other person in a different way, maybe like through email or text
Okay.
or private message
Sure.
or a phone call with the other person. And I know this is going to sound kind of chintzy, but I really believe in this, and I have found it to be helpful. Because if you and I are talking about a subject and it's not going well, why would I try to continue to talk with you about it if it's not getting any good fruit? It's just getting bad fruit.
I agree with that.
Yeah. And we've talked before, personally, I don't think we've ever talked about on our show about how imperfect electronic communication can be.
It can be. But it can be beneficial too.
It really can be very beneficial. It's just not perfect. It's got holes in it. But my point is, with people with whom I work, is that in-person communication isn't perfect either.
No, it's
so
not.
So we can't glorify that as if that's the savior of the world. In fact, in-person communication can be really difficult at times.
Yeah, I find that in-person communication can be difficult because you have that opportunity of just firing back right then.
Exactly.
Instead of through, written communication, especially if it's an email, because you've read through it. And if you can temper yourself to sit back and not just immediately write back.
Don't push send right away.
Yeah, don't press send all the way. We talk about that from time to time.
Don't push send right away.
And we'll read emails from each other or different things that we're dealing with and read through the emails that we're getting ready to send, because sometimes it's like, should I send it this way?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's sometimes good to take that time and actually think through that process, because even though you're putting it in written form, you have a lot more time to think through it and make sure that the words that you're saying, at least you're trying to get them across the right way.
Yeah, do they really convey what I want to say?
Right.
And make sure that I don't put in there what I don't want to say. Like I've had some couples who really, really have difficulty managing problems or solving problems in person, but they've done a great job electronically because they will email and then kind of massage it and then and then push send.
Yeah, I think that's great.
And here's why I think sometimes that emailing or texting or even phone calls work better. Because if I'm trying to solve a problem with my wife and she says something to me, and then I demonstrate some contempt by doing this,
Right.
or this, then she's going to go, what was that about?
That's right.
And then we're going to get into a fight about my expression. So now we're totally off of the original topic. But let's say that Kim sends me an email or she's talking to me by phone, and I don't really like what she says, and I do that. She's not going to see it. But then I can kind of get my act together and really tune into her. And my inappropriate expression didn't throw us off track.
Yeah.
So I think that it really can create that buffer that sometimes people need with one another to be able to have a good conversation without all of the raw emotion involved to get you off track.
I think that's true.
Yeah. So
I just to add to that, when you brought up the phone call, I wasn't even thinking about a phone call, but that is so true because at least you're breaking away from seeing that person and how they're reacting, and they can gain composure, or you can gain composure before you actually respond.
Yeah. So I would say, I would throw it out there and encourage people to test it out.
Yeah.
If you have difficulty communicating with somebody in person,
absolutely,
try electronic communication of some sort, or try the old-fashioned paper snail mail as well. Sometimes a reaction, you can get somebody to maybe buy in and be more comfortable with your influence if they have something to hold in their hand. It just makes a difference.
I think that is so true.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah. So there you are. Hope that you enjoyed our content. If you did, please go ahead and subscribe and ring that bell, right?
Yeah, and be sure to like it. Share it with your friends.
We really appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. Thanks, everybody.
Until next time. Okay.
I like it. Was there a horn or something? What was that?
Somebody beeped the horn in the parking lot.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Nothing we can do about that one.
I was trying not to react to it.
I know, and I thought about reacting just to really make note of it. Hey, who's honking?